Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from. I'd love to know where our community is tuning in from around the world. 1944. A muddy field somewhere in eastern France. The air still smelled of gunpowder and blood. Private James Murphy knelt beside a captured German soldier, going through the routine he'd done dozens of times before. Search, disarm, process. But when his hand touched something in the prisoner's jacket pocket, everything stopped. What he pulled out would haunt him for the rest of his life and save two others. This is a true story from World War II. A story about enemies who became brothers. About a promise made in the mud of France and kept across an ocean. This is WW2 Tales. To understand what happened that day in France, we need to go back. Back to 1938, Cincinnati, Ohio. Hans Chrysler was 24 years old. He'd come to America 3 years earlier from a small town near Munich. Like thousands of German immigrants, Hans was chasing the American dream. He worked at a machine shop on the west side of Cincinnati. Long hours, hard work, but honest pay. And Hans was good at it. His German precision made him valuable. Every evening, he'd stop at the same diner on his way home. That's where he met her, Margaret O'Connor. Red hair, an Irish temper, and a smile that could light up the darkest room. She was a waitress, saving money to help her family through the Depression. Hans would order the same thing every night. Coffee, black, and apple pie. You know we have other flavors, right? Margaret would tease him. I know what I like. Hans would reply in his thick German accent. 6 months later, they were married. A small ceremony at St. Patrick's Church. In 1939, Margaret gave birth to Emma, a beautiful baby girl with her mother's red hair and her father's blue eyes. For 2 years, Hans Chrysler lived the perfect American life. He had a wife he adored, a daughter he cherished, and a future full of promise. Then December 7th, 1941 happened. Pearl Harbor changed everything for everyone. But for Hans Chrysler, it became a nightmare. America entered the war. Hans wanted to serve his adopted country. He went to the recruitment office twice. Both times, he was turned away. You're not a citizen yet, they told him. And with your German birth, it's complicated. Then, in March 1942, Hans received a letter, but it wasn't from the American government. It was from Germany, from the Wehrmacht. Germany still considered Hans a German citizen, and they were calling him back. The letter was clear. Report to the German consulate in New York immediately, or his family back in Germany would face severe consequences. Margaret found him at the kitchen table that night, the letter in his hands, tears streaming down his face. They're threatening my family, Maggie, he whispered. If I don't go, they'll send them to a camp, or worse. 2 weeks later, Hans Chrysler boarded a ship in New York Harbor. He promised Margaret he'd find a way back. He'd desert at the first opportunity. He'd survive somehow and come home. But war had other plans. While Hans Chrysler was being forced into a Wehrmacht uniform, 800 miles away in Springfield, Ohio, James Murphy was saying goodbye to his own family. He'd enlisted the day after Pearl Harbor. By June 1944, Private Murphy had landed on Omaha Beach. He'd seen things number 22-year-olds should see, but he kept moving forward. That's what soldiers do. Meanwhile, Hans was experiencing his own hell. The Wehrmacht had sent him to the Eastern Front, Russia. He watched boys freeze to death. He saw atrocities he hated. He tried to desert 3 times. Each time, he was caught and sent to a punishment battalion. By some miracle, Hans survived. In his jacket pocket, he carried one thing, a letter Margaret had managed to send. He read it every night, touched the small photograph of his wife and daughter, and prayed. By November 1944, Hans's unit was sent to France to stop the American advance. The circle was closing. November 18, 1944. a small village in eastern France. Murphy's company had been pushing for 3 days. At dawn, they encountered a small German unit. The firefight lasted less than 15 minutes. When it was over, 7 German soldiers emerged with their hands up. Murphy's sergeant barked orders. Search them. Take their weapons. Check for documents. Murphy approached the last prisoner, a thin man with hollow eyes. Murphy began the search. Then his fingers found it. An envelope. He pulled it out, expecting military orders. But the envelope was addressed to Mrs. Margaret Chrysler, 412 Elm Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. USA. Murphy's hands started shaking. He looked at the German soldier. Really looked at him. The man was staring back, tears running down his face. Please, the German said in accented English. Please, don't take it. It's the only thing I have left. Murphy opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, worn from being read 1,000 times. The handwriting was feminine, careful. My dearest Hans, I pray every night that this letter finds you. Emma is 3 now. She asks about her papa every single day. You are coming home, aren't you, my love? Please be safe. We love you more than all the stars in the sky. Forever yours, Maggie. Attached was a small photograph. A young woman with red hair holding a baby girl. American flag flying in the background. Murphy looked up. The German soldier was openly weeping. Cincinnati, the soldier whispered. My home. My wife. My daughter. For months, Murphy was trained to see Germans as monsters. But here, sitting in the mud, was a man who'd lived in Ohio. Wehrmacht. They forced me come back, Hans said. I never want to fight America. Is my home. Every rule said, confiscate the letter, process the prisoner, move on. But James Murphy was raised to believe that mercy isn't weakness. He folded the letter, placed it back in the envelope, and handed it back to Hans. Keep it, Murphy said quietly. Keep it hidden. Then he pulled out his own notepad. Tell me her address again. The German soldier's eyes went wide. If I make it home before you do, Murphy said, I'll tell her you're alive. I promise. Private James Murphy survived the war. He came home in June 1945. Hans Chrysler survived too, returning to Cincinnati in 1947. But 3 months after that day in France, Murphy kept his promise. He knocked on the door at 4.